Tsale, it's story time. The title character in this opera made a deal with the devil. Loosely based on the poem by German writer Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, and eventually crafted into a libretto by Jules Barbier and Michel Carré, this opera portrays what could happen to a person who yearns for greener pastures and makes a desperate and devastating choice. Let's transport ourselves to Paris in 1859, which is the year in which this opera premiered, and experience the morality bending opera by French composer Charles Gounod. This is Faust. Now, let's get into the story. Dr. Faust is an aging philosopher who is feeling quite hopeless. He prides himself on being a scholar, but he has spent most of his life trying to discover his purpose and searching for the meaning of life to no avail. He believes his work has been in vain and he has practically given up on life. He plans to poison himself. He actually pours the poison, but just as he's ready to drink it, he hears the sound of a choir singing fervently, praising God. The music stops Faust from drinking the poison. God works in mysterious ways. Won't he do it? You're probably thinking this is the point where Faust asks God to forgive him for trying to unalive himself and rushes out to join the praise and worship session and becomes born again. But I mean, if he did all of that, we wouldn't have this wonderfully dramatic story to share with you. Faust actually sinks into a state of cynicism as he listens to the choir. He's like, why are they singing about hope and faith? Life has brought me no joy. I haven't experienced the love of a woman. I also want to be somebody's bae. Nobody slides into my DMs. Why? Well, dude, you're a grumpy philosopher who has discovered nothing. Go on that Pop the Balloon show and see if anyone keeps their balloon unpopped. Well, he keeps whining. God, you have done nothing to make my life here on earth a happy one, and I owe you no allegiance. In fact, since you have deserted me, I'm going to take my chances with your greatest foe. Perhaps he will help me. Satan, where art thou? Come to my aid! At this juncture, dear viewers and listeners, I'll just say that this opera reminds us that we should be careful what we wish for. As soon as Faust makes his plea to the master of the underworld, Mephistopheles appears. Now, Mephistopheles is basically ambassador from hell who has come to earth to grant Faust's wishes. He's a smooth operator, dressed like an aristocrat, with the silvery tongue of a convincing con artist. Mephistopheles says, Brother Faust, your cry for help was heard deep in the bowels of Hades, and I'm here to give you the happiness that you so desperately seek. So tell me, what do you desire? Ghana must go bag full of cash, the latest Range Rover, a selection of slay queens, East Legon mansion, Galamsey gold. You want Jakba? Surprisingly, Faust rejects all of these juicy offers, and he states that he only wants one thing: youth. Mephistopheles says, Ho, is that all? My brother, I can easily sort this out for you on one condition. What condition is that? Faust asks him suspiciously. Mephistopheles' mouth spreads into a wide, sinister grin, and he says, I will grant your wish for eternal youth, and I will be completely in servitude to you while we are here on earth. But when the time comes for us both to descend to hell, you shall be my servant. Deal? And he offers Faust a contract and a pen to sign on the dotted line. Faust is hesitant, understandably. I mean, a lifelong scholar like him should know that an agreement like this shouldn't be entered into without careful consideration of the consequences. Mephistopheles can sense that Faust is having second thoughts. So, he pulls out his secret weapon. He shows Faust an enchanting image of a gorgeous woman named Marguerite. Now, remember how Faust has been lamenting that he's been single forever? Well, he takes one look at Marguerite's comely countenance, and all of his resistance melts away. He snatches the contract and pen from Mephistopheles and hurriedly signs it, daydreaming about meeting Marguerite. Mephistopheles congratulates him and points to the cup that Faust was going to use to drink the poison. Mephistopheles has turned the poison into youth juice, and he urges Faust to drink it. Dr. Faust swallows it in one big gulp, and presto, he transforms into a young, handsome, and energetic Dr. Faust, excited about the prospects of his new life. So, Mephistopheles leads Faust to go and meet Marguerite. Meanwhile, the center of town is buzzing as some young men are being sent off to war. Now, Marguerite has a brother named Valentin, a very protective brother. Valentin will be going off to war soon, and he's worried about leaving his younger, innocent sister behind, especially since they don't have any parents or anyone he trusts to look after her in his absence. His friend, Tsale, reassures him that he will look after Marguerite. As Valentin and his friends are chatting, Mephistopheles appears on the scene and starts displaying some unconventional behavior. He sings some weird song about Satan worshippers. Then he gives a disturbing prediction about one of Valentin's friends, Wagner, saying that he'll be killed in the war. He also mentions Marguerite in an unflattering statement, which draws the displeasure of her brother Valentin. But Mephistopheles doesn't stop there. He makes a prediction that he knows the person who will kill Valentin. Then he starts encouraging the crowd to drink recklessly. Eventually, Valentin is tired of this crude stranger and he draws his sword to send a warning to Mephistopheles. But to Valentin's shock, when he raises his sword, an unseen force snaps it into pieces in midair. He and his friends then realize that Mephistopheles is basically a demon. So they take their sword hilts, which are shaped like crosses, and they hold them up to ward off Mephistopheles and to protect themselves. Mephistopheles is powerless against the crosses, so he stays back but vows to meet them again in a very menacing tone. Now, Dr. Faust appears from wherever he's been and tells Mephistopheles that he's ready to meet Marguerite and make his move. Mephistopheles obliges. Remember, he's Faust's servant on Earth, so he has to grant his requests. So, as Marguerite finally makes her way into town to join the dancing and the fun, Mephistopheles makes sure that only Faust gets close to her. You see, Valentin's friend, Tsale, the one who promised that he would take care of Marguerite, is also trying to shoot his shot, but Mephistopheles keeps blocking him. Anyway, Dr. Faust engages Marguerite for the first time, and she's so sweet and modest and demure that even though she refuses his offer to escort her home, he's even more attracted to her. Faust is like, hey, Mephistopheles, you're supposed to be helping me to get this girl, but it's like she keeps refusing my advances. Step up your game, man. Mephistopheles is like, Charlie, relax. Why? You know, see woman before. I have a plan, okay? Let's go. So now we're outside Marguerite's house. Tsale has arrived there first, and he's left some flowers outside her door. He's so sweet. Faust and Mephistopheles are hiding and watching him. Faust is getting nervous because now he sees that he's got some competition. Remember, he doesn't know how to court a woman, even with his new youthful good looks. Faust tells Mephistopheles to find a better gift for Marguerite and to also bring it to her doorstep. Mephistopheles does the most. He returns with a whole box of designer jewelry and a mirror, and he leaves it outside her door. Eventually, Miss Marguerite returns home, and she's astonished to see all these gifts greeting her outside her door. Her nosy neighbor, Martha, comes outside to help her try on the jewelry, and they're singing and dancing, typical girly stuff. Then the two men come out of hiding to engage the women and chat with them. Obviously, there's a lot of flirting going around, and Marguerite gets caught up in the moment and she allows Faust to kiss her. Hey, where is Big Brother Valentine when you need him? Well, the ultimate plan is for Faust to seduce Marguerite, but his conscience starts to prick him a bit, and he begins to leave. Marguerite is saying goodbye to him and telling him that he shouldn't stay away too long because she'll miss him, blah, blah, blah. And Mephistopheles is encouraging Faust to be a bad boy. He's like, Faust, this is your chance. Go and rock her world. Show her that you've got the skills to match your new physique. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Go forth and experience love. Well, we know that it was actually lust, but Faust fell for it, and he returned to Marguerite and enjoyed a passionate night with her. And now we understand why Valentin was so worried about his little sister. He hasn't even been gone for 5 minutes. And look, obviously Mephistopheles is happy because his plan is going very well. Now, let's travel a few months ahead. And what do we see? A despondent Marguerite is being mocked by people in her community. Because now we find out that during their night of passion, Faust impregnated Marguerite and she hasn't seen him since. She has given birth to the baby, but the society has ostracized her, so she's really not doing well. And remember the nice guy, Sibyl, who really liked her, but was overtaken by Faust in the race to win her heart? He's her only friend now. He's with her on this particular day when Valentin and the other soldiers have returned from the war. Obviously, Valentin has missed his little sister and he's looking forward to seeing her as soon as possible. But he doesn't know that he's an uncle now. Sibyl tries his best to prepare Valentin for the shock, pleading with him to forgive Marguerite. Valentin is alarmed by Sibyl's behavior and he's like, wait, what happened? What's going on? Why? Where is she? He rushes into the house only to see his dear sister in such a sad state. Just at that moment, Dr. Faust and his devilish servant Mephistopheles also show up, and Faust is desperate to see Marguerite. Sir, where have you been the past 9 months? Like, we've been looking for you. So Mephistopheles starts singing a sarcastic version of a love song just to get Marguerite to come outside. And he also knows that Valentin is in there with her and he wants to stir up some trouble. Valentin hears the music and he rushes outside angrily. He draws his sword and he and Faust end up dueling. And Faust kills Valentin. Poor Marguerite finally arrives on the scene with Sibyl, only to witness her dear brother dying, and Faust and Mephistopheles running away. Marguerite is devastated. She has now lost both parents and her loving brother. She's also a social outcast with a fresh baby to look after. All she can do is enter a church and start praying. Can you believe that Mephistopheles follows her to the church and hides in a corner while summoning demons to disturb her spirit? Marguerite becomes overwhelmed by the evil aura around her and she collapses into unconsciousness. We eventually learn that Marguerite goes into a deep depression and she kills her baby, so the powers that be have decided to execute her. She's in her prison cell awaiting her fate, and Faust asks Mephistopheles to take him to see her. Faust is now feeling bad for all of the pain he has caused her. He wants to take her out of the prison and take her away with him. But at this point, Marguerite just wants to surrender herself to God. She collapses and dies, and her soul rises to heaven as Faust watches her in anguish. Mephistopheles, the evil puppet master, can't stand the heavenly light of the angels as they welcome Marguerite into heaven, so he turns away, leaving Faust praying to God for forgiveness. I don't know about you, but I feel like the wrong person suffers the most in this opera. I mean, why did sweet, innocent Marguerite, the orphan, have to be seduced by evil men, stripped of her innocence, impregnated and abandoned, witnessed the murder of her loving brother, killed her own baby, and ended up dying in grief? At least, she went to heaven in the end. As for Dr. Faust and his shady shadow, the least said about them, the better. And that is the opera Faust. Cheers.